A very warm welcome to all of you. Myself Rajan Choudhary, Professor in the Department of Civil Engineering, Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati, instructor for the NPTEL MOOC course Pavement Construction and Technology, funded by Ministry of Education, Government of India. Our today's lecture will be under Module 11, where we will discuss the typical treatment and maintenance activities for bituminous pavements. In our previous lectures, we have discussed about the different type of distresses which can occur on the bituminous pavements and what can be the possible causes and how they can be treated. In today's lecture, we will specifically discuss about some of the maintenance and treatments, the generic maintenance and treatment activities which are carried out for bituminous pavements. Now, at the very beginning, I would like to acknowledge the use of text, information, graphs and images sourced from various textbooks, codal standards, journal articles, reports, newsletters and public domain searches. We have discussed about the pavement distresses. We have discussed the type of distresses which can be classified into different categories and what could be the possible causes and what treatments can work out in those distresses. So, if we talk about pavement distresses, again we can, from our experience and the knowledge which we have gained, we can say distresses in bituminous pavements can be greatly minimized. How it can be greatly minimized? By an effective surface and subsurface drainage. Drainage forms a very important aspect of flexible pavement structure, both the surface and the subsurface drainage. So, if a good or adequate subsurface and surface drainage is provided, it can be considered as a lifeline of your flexible or bituminous pavement. Proper design with adequate strength and thickness. This we have discussed that the different layers which are to be considered in the bituminous pavement, their thickness and the strength of those layers play a very important significant role. So, the design has to be proper to take care of the traffic which is going to come in the design life of that road structure. Strict quality control in the construction of pavement layers, including your subgrade also. So, this is another aspect. You have a good design, you incorporating different materials, but then you need to have a strict control over the different aspects, quality control aspects and quality assurance aspects to get what you have designed and what you are expecting. And finally, an adequate maintenance, that requires what type of maintenance and at what interval of maintenance a job has to be taken up to upkeep your pavement structure. So, we will discuss specifically in today's talk about the different maintenance and treatments which are required for bituminous pavements. So, pavement deterioration is mainly influenced. What are the factors which play a role into it? The traffic loads, the weather, the climatic conditions, the individual material qualities, what materials we have used in, the pavement thickness, whether we have a strong good pavement crust to support the load, traffic load, construction practices which has been followed and the effectiveness of past maintenance, because that is again that is why we will discuss more about the maintenance aspect. Early detection and timely repair of surface distresses can prevent or delay further damage. So, this we have seen in earlier distresses like hairline cracks are there when they initially get, say, when they appear on a pavement structure, bituminous pavement structure, if they are detected and if you seal those cracks in the initial period itself, it prevents further damage to your structure, similar to raveling, similar to other distresses also, where some initial signs are there. So, at that moment of time, it is important that we are able to detect it and we are able to work out a proper repair for those distresses. The performance of a pavement highly depends upon the type, timing and quality of maintenance. So, even for a particular distress, if what the maintenance we have suggested, is it good enough for that particular one? So, that is an important aspect, because as I mentioned, if there is some fatigue cracking is there and if you are going for a thin overlay, it will not serve the purpose. So, the type is important, the timing where I can go for a small micro surfacing application or a slurry seal application if my cracks are of a smaller width, but when the cracks have gone bigger, then it may not serve the purpose here. And again, the quality of the maintenance activities is also important to ensure to get what you desire after the maintenance of a particular surface. So, correct identification of defects and their causes is vital. This is important for selecting appropriate methods and maintenance studies. So, this is we discussed previously also that we need to work out what defects are there and what can be the possible causes, so that it helps us to decide the maintenance activities. Pavement maintenance mainly refers to the activities carried out to preserve. What it includes, the activities or treatments which are carried out to preserve a pavement under normal traffic and environmental conditions as close as to its original construction state, which is a very ideal situation. Definitely in due course of time the condition or the serviceability will go down, but still we are trying to keep through our maintenance activity as close as what is expected to be there in the original state of construction. Timely upkeep and maintenance of bituminous surfacings offers significant benefits preserving road assets, because these are assets, our transportation or our road structure are our assets. And as per IRC 82 2023 says, what it helps us, these timely maintenance activities, what it helps us to slower the rate of deterioration and gives us a longer pavement life. Lower vehicle operating cost, because you are able to keep the standards high of our roads. Reduced crash rates if the surface is maintained to a good quality, good skid resistance, good smoothness, then definitely the chances. Upkeep is of road furnitures also, not only the road surface, it is the road furnitures also. It may be regarding your signages, it may be regarding your markings. So, upkeep of your road furniture also is involved, and this upkeep and maintenance of your road furnitures and road surface conditions helps to bring down the accidents rates also. All weather traffic worthy roads are there, so the roads are usable under all different weather conditions. Savings in restoration and reconstruction cost, if we are able to keep them, upkeep them, if we are able to delay those ones, then definitely, because otherwise when major rehabilitation or reconstruction has to be done, then the costs which are incurred are very high compared to these maintenance jobs. Delays in maintenance, or we can say deferred maintenance, increases both the extent and severity of the distresses. Many a times because of we may not be aware, or we haven't inspected our road sections, or there was some shortage of funds may be there, any other issue may be there, because of which if we have deferred our maintenance, then it will definitely may land up us in a situation where a lot of cost may be incurred in the rehabilitation or reconstruction of it. With rapid rise in construction cost, effective maintenance has become even more critical. Even in maintenance also, what type of maintenance is suitable for a particular job, that is also important. So, in terms of monetary aspects, it says that timely and regular road maintenance can yield an economic rate of returns of about 15 to 20%, depending upon the road category and the traffic volume which plies over it. This is as per codal specifications, the information provided. Moreover, it helps to defer the need of costly rehabilitation by prioritizing the preventive maintenance jobs or the maintenance activities. So, the primary purpose of maintenance is to correct distress related deficiencies, protect our investment, the road asset, and provide a smooth, safe roadway for road users. So, what maintenance will do, ultimately what we are trying to look, we want to protect our road asset, we want to provide a smooth and safe roadway, and we want to avoid, or we want to correct the distress related deficiencies which are there. So, broadly the maintenance or treatment activities are usually classified under three main categories. The first one is routine maintenance, second one preventive maintenance, and the third one is periodic maintenance or periodic renewals. We will discuss these, and we will discuss the different kind of treatments, activities which are done under these different 3 major categories of maintenance. So, first beginning with the routine maintenance. Routine maintenance, as the word itself says, it refers to the day-to-day work especially required to preserve a pavement and keep it as close to it as constructed condition. So, we want to keep the surface in the serviceability condition which is as good as near to its newly constructed condition. So, it is carried out throughout the year by road maintenance staff, and what it typically may include, it may include the pavement upkeep, where specifically one major job which comes under the routine maintenance if there is any pothole formation is there. So, then that particular pothole patching has to be done immediately, because that may create a lot of that may intensify your distress and may damage the nearby pavement structure and may be more deteriorating to your pavement structure. So, that is why immediately one important aspect is to work out where any pothole patching is required. Second is surface markings. As I mentioned, it is not only the pavement surface, it is the road furniture. So, surface markings, upkeep of pavement markings on bituminous surface to guide users and to enhance safety. So, wherever if you find any requirement is there in the pavement markings, so then it has to be immediately taken up. Traffic aids, as I mentioned, again road furnitures in terms of signboards, kilometer stones and other roadside furniture, your crash barriers, delineators, all the upkeep of that has to be maintained regularly or has to be ensured regularly. Structures, the care of your structures, specifically culverts, bridges, earth retaining structures, parapet walls, to ensure safety and functional infrastructure. So, these all checks are usually done regularly under your routine maintenance activities. Then comes the second important maintenance job is your preventive maintenance activity. So, preventive maintenance consists of activities carried out while the pavement is still in fair to good structure condition. So, it is still in fair to good structure condition, but it is carried out with the objective of protecting it or slowing the rate of deterioration, because some distresses in due course of time may appear. So, we are trying to slow down that particular one, the rate of deterioration, and extend its functional. If we slow down it, that means we are extending its service life or functional life. By doing it, it helps to delay the need for periodic maintenance. So, the third category, which was periodic maintenance, which is expected that okay, this many years of time there may be a requirement of this particular renewal coat. So, if I do a preventive maintenance properly at a timely interval, then I am able to delay my requirement of periodic maintenance, or even the major rehabilitation also is delayed in that case within the pavement's design life. Now, what are the typical treatments or activities which are generally done under the preventive maintenance heading is the crack sealing or crack filling. This is one. The fog seal, application of fog seal, application of slurry seal, micro surfacing, surface dressing and thin overlays. We will discuss one by one these different activities which are taken up under the preventive maintenance or treatment. So, first of all, crack sealing, as the word itself says, it is the sealing of cracks. So, it is a maintenance activity that involves first cleaning of the cracks, any cracks. So, any debris or any foreign material present in the crack should be cleaned up for treatment, and then filling them with a sealant. A proper sealant has to be selected, and this crack needs to be sealed up so that no further water ingress is there through those particular ones, neither non-compressible material should go inside these cracks. So, this crack sealing activity has to be carried out under the preventive maintenance job, and this will help us to delay our distresses. It is particularly used for working cracks that open and close with temperature variations, specifically the cracks which are smaller in width. So, typical sealant requirements. Now, what type of crack sealants can be used? This is another important aspect. So, what we require, what we expect from any crack sealant, it should be strong adhesion to the crack sides. So, it should show a good adhesion, so that there is no separation of the sealant from the adjacent material. Flexibility and elasticity to accommodate expansion and contraction, because if there are there are certain cracks during the cold weather, there may be some shrinkage may be there, and a slight expansion in case of hot weather. So, these cracks should be flexible and elastic enough to accommodate a small amount expansions and contraction. Easy for application, because there may be small jobs which are spread along the section. So, the application of these crack sealants to the crack should be an easy process. Resistance to softening in hot weather, if they get softened up, then it may get picked up by the vehicle tires. So, that even reduces your skid resistance also. And resistance to tracking under traffic. So, this is another, because they should not be create a problem for the vehicle users in that case. Sealants are typically, what type of sealants are particularly used are elastomeric modified bituminous materials are there, which can that soften when heated and gets hardened on cooling. Modified bitumen as well as rubberized bitumen binders are some of the quite popular sealants which are used for sealing of cracks under the preventive maintenance jobs. Now, IRC 82 also gives a guideline when this crack sealing can be done, for what kind of cases it can be done, where and what purpose it serves out. So, here you can see this is a table which has been taken from IRC 82 2023. What it says, the conditions which can be addressed through this crack sealing is, we can address longitudinal cracking, we can address minor block cracking, which are your shrinkage cracks or thermal cracks, especially shrinkage cracks are there, or transverse cracking is there. So, small cracks can be taken up in that case, but there is no structure benefits. We do not get any structure benefit by this particular one, any structure failure which is there, fatigue cracking is there. So, again it will happen because your pavement is having inadequate strength. So, extensive deterioration is there, then this crack sealing will not work out. You have to work out for some structure evaluation and some other pavement treatment activities. So, it gives us guidelines what type of situations it can be useful specifically, and what are the considerations. Placement should be done during warm and dry weather conditions. Proper crack cleaning is essential for a good bond with the existing material. Similarly, the another popular material or technique or the treatment which is under the preventive is the fog seal. So, it is again a preventive maintenance treatment applied to oxidize, specifically the surfaces which has oxidized, or I can say hungry surfaces or the raveled surfaces are there. So, which are approaching raveling, loss of fines. And what is there? Here it is an application of a slow setting bituminous emulsion, a diluted one is sprayed directly on the pavement surface, and there are no aggregates in it. So, it is a thin application of a bituminous emulsion over the surface. So, it will address the challenges specifically related to lack of binder and hungry surfaces, fine cracks may be there, or some initiation of loss of fine aggregates, that is raveling is happening. So, those kind of challenges can be addressed with the application of fog spray. Main advantages, it is low cost and postpones the need for surface treatments at least 1 to 2 years. So, this is how it saves the money. Your delays the requirement of your any periodic treatment in that case. So, typical functions, it seals the pavement surface, inhibit raveling because you are putting up a binder, your existing surface, regenerates the hardened because you are putting up these emulsions, soft binders, and so it regenerates your oxidized and aged binder, provide delineation to pavement edges and shoulders, because if you do it on main carriageways, it can very well separate out and it can give you a good view of your main carriageway compared to your shoulders or pavement edges. Application rates depends upon how much application has to be done. This depends upon what type of surface texture is there, because a higher application should not be done. In that case, there can be a loss of skid resistance, because it is an only an application of a bituminous binder. If more quantity is applied, then this surface may become slippery. So it is always better to go in multiple applications and to see whether your purpose is solved and your skid resistance is not hampered also. The emulsion should only fill the voids between the exposed aggregates. That is why the dry or the hungry surfaces are there, or the surfaces which are prone to raveling. Excessive application can create a slippery surface, particularly on high speed roads. So that, and if it happens also in certain cases when the application is done, and if it is found that at few locations the surface has become slippery, then we can go for an application of a sharp sand which is applied and rolled to improve the skid resistance. So this is another, so as to pick up the excess binder which is there. So quite suitable for parking loads and specifically low speed road sections. This kind of treatment of fog seal is quite useful and has been proved beneficial. The conditions as per IRC 82 which are suitable for the application of fog seal, it says longitudinal, transverse and block caking are good enough to be treated by fog seal. Bitumen aging, oxidation and hardening, those surfaces or those conditions can be also treated with the help of fog seal. Some initiation of raveling, loose materials must be, but yes, definitely whenever the surface needs to be prepared, it needs to be cleaned for any loose material, debris or foreign material present over. No structure improvement is there, and usually not recommended for high traffic roads or highways. Some challenges may arise with respect to the skid resistance. So already some surfaces which are there with poor skid resistance, then fog spray, an application of fog spray may further hamper the situation. So since it is an application of an emulsion, we need to give some curing time before it is open to the, usually 2 to 4 hours is a usual time for these kind of preventive activities before it is open to the traffic. The another preventive activity is, or the treatment is, the application of slurry seal, and here in case of fog spray, it was only a binder. Here it consists of fine mineral aggregates, slow setting cationic bitumen emulsion, specifically SS2 grade is used, along with water and some additives which may or may not be used. So the components are proportioned. We have dedicated guidelines, specifically IRC SP 81 is there, which gives us guidelines of the slurry seals and the micro surfacing. We have the MORTH specifications for road and bridge works, which also gives the detailed guidelines on the composition and the application of the slurry seals. So the components are proportioned, mixed and uniformly applied over a prepared surface using a self-propelled slurry seal machine. So this is an important, it should be applied through a slurry seal machine to get the desired benefits. Now what are the key features or what are the key benefits associated with it? It has a free flowing consistency similar to a cement concrete. So the application is easy with this slurry seal. Seals low severity surface cracks. So the low severity is around 3 mm to 5 mm cracks can be sealed with this particular one. Waterproofs the pavement structure. It waterproofs, it has a high binder content, so it waterproofs your surface also. Improves skid resistance on roads, typically up to speeds of 60 km per hour. So it can be used in urban sections or low speed roads can be used where low volume of traffics are there. And you can see this is, there are 3 types of slurry seals which have been recommended by MORTH depending upon the thickness of these applications. The type 1 for a thickness of 2 to 3 mm, type 2 for 4 to 6 mm, type 3 6 to 8 mm, and here you can see they mention for what type of cracks, up to what cracks 4 to 6 mm thickness of these slurry seals can be used, and this is how much quantity of slurry seal is there and how much amount of residual binder. You can see a high content of residual binder is there specifically in these slurry seals. So with a typical thickness under 10 mm, so we can see 6 to 8 mm is the maximum thickness which is there, quite suited for city roads, city streets, preserving curbs. Now what the additional advantages is there, these thin applications which are less than even 1 centimeter, when you apply this particular one specifically on urban streets, then your concerns related to your curbs, medians, because if you put more amount of overlay, your height, your drainage, your roadside features gets disturbed. So these thin applications, they help to preserve your pavement structures. Along with it, they are not affecting the existing curbs, medians or drainage. So the other conditions which can be addressed as per our codal requirements, it says the longitudinal transverse and block cracking can be addressed by this particular one, raveling, weathering, loose materials. Always there is frictional loss. Now here we have an aggregate application. In case of fog seal, there was we were not allowed, where already this surface was having some concerns related to skid resistance, but here it says if some friction loss is there, then this could add or improve the skid resistance also. It will help us in the moisture, reducing the moisture infiltration. It will help us in case of oxidized or hardened binder also. But definitely it is a very thin application, no addition to the structure capacity which happens. Now again, construction conditions which are there, as I said, the correct type of maintenance, the correct time of maintenance, the correct type of treatment, the correct time of maintenance and the correct application or the correct quality of it, all these are important aspects. So whenever these applications are to be made, the structure conditions are, construction conditions are well mentioned, that the surface must be clean, aggregates must be clean, angular, durable, well graded and uniformly preferred 100% crushed aggregates. Then only the desired benefits can be achieved by these preventive maintenance treatments. Now the other very popular kind of surface treatment is which comes under the preventive category is microsurfacing. So it is a pavement treatment composed of, here what we usually use polymer modified emulsified asphalts are there, mineral aggregates are used, mineral filler is used, water and additives are used, and the application is very similar to what is in the case of slurry seals. So here it is mainly used on structurally sound pavements, because again these are thin applications, they do not add to your structure strength of your pavement structure. Showing and what kind of situations it can address: premature aging, cracking, aggregate loss or polishing. So the key features of it uses a polymer modified or a rubber modified, the bituminous emulsions are there. This is one important feature compared to the slurry seals. Second is, two types are usually specified, where in slurry seals 3 type of slurry seals were specified. Here usually 2 types are specified, one is 4 to 6 mm, second is 6 to 8 mm. Along with the details, this is as per MORTS 2013 specifications, where the details in terms of the requirement of different components, the aggregates and the binder, the residual binder is given. Along with it, it mentions that for 6 to 8 mm, when it can be good enough, it can be for roads carrying the commercial vehicles. Commercial vehicles are usually the one which have a laden weight of more than 3 tons. So commercial vehicles which in the range of 1500 to 4500 commercial vehicles per day, then this one is good enough, and this 4 to 6 mm is good enough. So they can cater to specifically medium and in some cases high volume traffics also. Prevents raveling and oxidation, enhances surface friction, this is additional advantages, fills minor irregularities and wheel ruts, because see the thickness of microsurfacing, and many a times there may be 2 applications of microsurfacings also which can be done depending upon the requirement. Again, the codal specification says it can be helpful to address longitudinal and transverse cracking, the microsurfacing, the raveling, weathering can be addressed, even bleeding can be addressed, where we can a bit adjust the binder content also. Friction loss can be addressed through this particular one. Moisture infiltration can be reduced significantly with this one, but again it says adds limited structure capacity because it is of a very low thickness, less than 10 mm. So temporary seals, it can seal the fatigue cracks, but yes, because if an inadequate structure is there because of which fatigue cracking is happening, it will again occur. But yes, because if those cracks are not sealed, then water will go down and this will exaggerate and will reduce the time which will be there for your major rehabilitation or some periodic renewals are required. So, this at least delays or reduces the progression of your distresses. Then the other kind of preventive maintenance treatment is surface dressing. Now, in this particular one, it is a quite cost effective preventive maintenance treatment which is there, and here this serves both the purpose. It is for the preventive maintenance also and for periodic renewals also or periodic maintenance also. So, where these are planned for some regular intervals. So, surface dressings are used, even micro surfacing is used in periodic renewals also. We will discuss in the upcoming slides. It involves, and surface dressing we already discussed, it involves a spraying of a viscosity grade binder or a rapid setting cationic emulsion on a prepared surface, followed by an application of your cover aggregates or key aggregates, and then a rolling has to be done so as to embed these key aggregates into your bituminous binder film. So, it can be applied in a single coat or in a 2 coat. We have discussed this earlier. So, surface dressing can be in 1 coat or 2 coat, but that time we ensured if it has to be applied in 2 coat, definitely the first coat needs to be opened for traffic to at least 2 to 3 weeks, and whenever the second coat is done, we preferably go for smaller sizes of aggregates in the second coat of surface dressing. What are the key benefits which are usually arrived with the help of surface dressing? It seals pavement and prevents water ingress because you are making an application of a bituminous binder layer over the existing pavement, protects bitumen from oxidation, enhances skid resistance, key aggregates are there, chips are there on the top of it. So, it provides a good macro texture to your surface, extends pavement's life because it prevents the or it delays the progression of your distresses. As per the codal specifications, it says it is good for addressing longitudinal transverse and block cracking, raveling and weathering can be well addressed through this particular one. Bleeding, roughness, friction loss, moisture infiltration are again some of the aspects which can be very well, but simultaneously it says structure failures cannot be addressed through the applications of surface dressing or extensive deterioration or fatigue cracking is there, then they does not add to your structure capacity. So, this is again an important aspect which needs to be taken care. Now, thereafter the other application is in terms of some thin overlays. Thin overlays can be used certain mixes, say the close graded premix carpet which can be used or semi-dense bituminous concrete or bituminous concrete, or these are certain 3 thin overlays which can be applied, and again the thickness is usually less than 20 mm. So, they will not add to your structure strength, but they can help you to preserve your pavement structure. So, thin overlays are mainly non-structural layers designed to protect existing pavements without significantly increasing structure capacity. A certain extent is helpful because it adds to it, but it should not be considered as an structure overlay. Typically applied over structurally adequate pavements. This is an important aspect, and when we go for this complete application of these thin overlays, that means the existing one has distress. So, a good part is if we can mill it and reuse it or recycle it. So, milling is recommended when the surface shows moderate to severe raveling and low to medium severity longitudinal or transverse cracking. When we go for these thin overlays, it is good enough that we mill the existing surface and it can be recycled. Composition and thickness, normally plant mixed asphalt, cement and aggregate, typically thickness maximum it goes 20 to 40 mm, commonly 30 to 40 mm for hot mix asphalt or bituminous concrete, but usually thin overlays means which is around 1 inches, 1 or 1.5 inches. Common mix types are, we can have both cold and hot mixes which can be used for as in thin overlays. Dense or semi-dense bituminous concrete can be there, open graded, close graded premix carpet or a stone matrix asphalt is there. Now, it serves as a preventive maintenance, definitely improves functional quality, riding quality also, it helps us to improve the smoothness of the surface also, protects the pavement surface. So, this is basically the thin overlays are there, and then what are the conditions it can be addressed, it can be useful for addressing is longitudinal and transverse cracking is there, raveling is there, bleeding, roughness, friction loss, block cracking may perform better with additional milling, and structure rutting is not definitely cannot be stopped with this particular one, but yes, to a certain extent to give you the improved riding quality or the improved smoothness of the surface, it will serve the purpose. Now, here important things to be noted down is if you have say surfaces initially showing some signs of fine cracks or some signs of raveling. So, why to wait for to go for thin overlays? In the beginning itself we can go for the application of foxes in that case, and if only raveling is there, only some fine cracks have developed at some places, we will go for an application of the crack sealing in that case. If we are going to delay it, finally we have to land up with some more when these are certain treatments which will involve more amount of cost. So, that is why it is said that a good inspection is required to timely figure it out what type of maintenance activities can be done, so that it can be done at a lower cost and it will be more effective in that case. Now, the third one is the periodic maintenance or periodic renewals is there. Now, this is usually certain activities which are planned in advance, so that we can say these are the periodic renewals or periodic activities which are there. So, they consist of regular works performed every few years, because we can understand in due course of time, in say 5 to 7 years of life, your binder will get aged, chances of fine cracks may be there, the loss of fine aggregates will be there. So, an application of a micro surfacing will be a good measure under the periodic renewals. So, these are certain regular activities which are planned at some regular intervals, few years to prevent pavement deterioration and defer the need of major rehabilitation. These operations are carried out either at predetermined intervals, one is a predetermined one scheduled, or based on pavement condition and performance. This is important because certain activities which may be planned at say an interval of 5 years, but it is good enough from inspection, if we feel that this needs to be done before that particular period, it has to be carried out. Otherwise, if we are going to wait for that period of time, by that time the distresses will get extended or they will become more severe. So, this periodic renewal at that time which was decided earlier may even not be sufficient enough to address those distresses. So, the timing and type of maintenance depends upon road category, what type of category is there, specifically high speed roads are there, urban sections are there, or roads with low traffic are there, traffic volume and climatic conditions under which it has to serve, with primary goals of improving riding quality and slowing permanent deformation. So, these are the primary goals with the periodic renewals. What are the common treatments which are included under these periodic maintenance activities or periodic renewals are? It can be a single or double coat surface dressing which can be there, a thin premix carpet, a slurry seal, 1 or 2 coat of slurry seal, applications, micro surfacing, more than one application of micro surfacing, mixed seal may be there, stone matrix asphalt application may be there, semi-dense or dense bituminous concrete, hot or cold mix or bituminous concrete. So, these are the different kind of treatments which are usually planned under the periodic maintenance or periodic renewal activities. Now, as for the other maintenance activities also, similarly for periodic renewals and treatments, they help to preserve the original pavement qualities, prevent deterioration and ensure that the pavement meets the ongoing and future traffic throughout its design life. Some of the key points of periodic renewals includes, first of all is timely detection and repair of visible distresses. So, this is one part. If we are able to this under the periodic renewals, again timely detection and repair of visible hairline cracks, raveling to prevent major surface damage and the costly repairs. Another is Inspection based planning, as I said, there will be one time based, there will be one, the other one is inspection based. So, the inspection based planning is very important, and this inspection can be done preferably twice a year, one before monsoon and one after monsoon. So, periodic inspections along with spatial inspections, especially before and after rains, because these are the two important periods when you can see what before the monsoon is there, before the rains, you can see if certain cracks are there. It is better to address or treat those ones before the monsoon, and then we can see how the cracks or any other distresses or any other treatment has performed under that particular rainy period, to identify stretches needing pothole repair, patching or other remedial measures. So, this inspection based planning is very important for periodic renewals. Selection of renewal specifications, as we mentioned, we have a good amount of options are there. Micro surfacing is there, stone matrix asphalt is there, or the bituminous concrete is there, slurry seal is there. So, which type, depending upon the existing condition of this road, the periodic renewals can be planned in that case. Profile correction, this is another, whenever many a times in due course of time, specifically the profile may get disturbed, mainly in terms of your super elevation and camber. So, since these renewal codes are thin in thickness, they should not be considered for your profile correction. So, it is very important that before these the treatments are made, the certain profile corrective course can be applied over the surface which matches to your existing surface. So, traffic may flatten camber and super elevation. So, a suitable leveling or profile correction course is to be applied before any treatment and renewal is done. So, these are certain important aspects which needs to be taken care when we are looking into these treatments or maintenance for the bituminous pavements. Thank you all of you.